So you ideally want to be preparing for your conversation, especially the longer ones, the 5-minute catch-ups, the walk and talks, not so much. But if you've got a scheduled meeting, you want to do some prep. I'm saying 10 minutes. If it's a more complex conversation, you might need to do more prep. Also, over time, you find a way of, looking back at your notes and quickly going, okay, that's where we left things. I know what to pick up on. So you do your prep, and then this is based on a 60-minute conversation. Okay, so you would dial it down or up for shorter or longer conversations. You spend the first 10 minutes roughly agreeing what you're going to cover in this conversation. And so that will be, hi Dave, what do you want to, good to see you today. What would you like to walk away with from the conversation today? And then they will share a perspective, some thoughts, things that they might want to cover. And you might go through some iterations of this agreement. So you would go through in working out that agreement. What do we want to cover? What do you want to walk away with? The first time someone shares something might not be particularly coherent or well thought through. So you would ask, again, okay, so I understand you've talked about these two things. Which one of those is most important for us to cover today? And so you get that agreement. Okay, so what do you want from this conversation? And this is super important that we contract what it is that they want to walk away with, because if you don't, the conversation will lose shape pretty quickly when you get into the exploration part. Yeah, because we haven't actually aligned on what's most important for us to get to where we need to get to by the end of this conversation. And so if you think about most conversations, we take tangents, we talk about different things, and this bit's related. So your job is to hold those threads, but also keep it tight in terms of a conversation and the outcome that they want. Then you spend a good chunk, 20 minutes or so, doing that exploration, and I'll talk you through what that looks like more in a moment. And then your wrap up is, okay, so what have you got? What are you walking away with? Do you have what you need? How will you know you've achieved it? What support do you need from me? And then the final parts might be from this is a very strong coaching aspect, is what have you learned about yourself today? Or what reflections do you have about your choices today? And that's about growing their self-awareness. It's a really important part of it. And I'm 50% of the time, I'm surprised by what people say, because that's my many years of experience, because I'm kind of like, well, I think they learned, they grasped an awareness or developed an awareness for this, which they may well have done, but what they reflect back might be something that you weren't expecting. It'll be an aspect of the conversation. It might be the teeniest, 10 seconds that was in the conversation that has actually, made the biggest impact for them. Let's keep this going. All right, the POwER paradigm I've introduced you to, it's the prepare and observe with experiment and refine. So the idea is you're doing the preparation, you are in the conversation, and you're observing and experimenting together collaboratively, and you're refining. You also do that on a bigger scale for yourself, right? For your meetings, when you're practicing your skills, you're going to be observing people. You're going to be experimenting with different phrases and techniques, and you'll look at that and go, well, that bit worked, but I think next time I might say it this way. Okay, so think about this on multiple levels, your conversation and your own growth with these skills.